What's up guys, Generation Gamer here. I'm going to do a comparison on the Detroit 3, starting with the Camaro SS. The Camaro in this game, actually most of the cars in this game are pretty close to the real stats. The Camaro, as you can see, has a top speed of 155, 0-60, I don't know why they put 0-62, but 0-60 is 4.7 seconds. It weighs quite a bit, but just like in reality, it's not the heaviest out of the Detroit 3. The heaviest would be the Dodge, the Challenger SRT8, and that actually shows and translates pretty decently into the game. The Mustang is the lightest out of the three, so if you choose the Mustang in a straight line, you'll beat the Camaro and the Challenger all the time. However, if you are doing slalom courses or, you know, regular races, obviously I don't think there's a single race except for one drag race that you do in this game, and it just so happens that you do it against a Mustang. There's no straight line racing, pretty much. There are straight lines during the circuit races, yes, but when you're comparing full stock, it doesn't really matter. You want to hear what car full stock is the best, because it's what you start with, obviously. So I chose the Camaro personally. You know, my dad worked at General Motors, so I might be a little biased when I say that this is the best car to start with, mainly because its traction is actually through the roof. It hugs corners so well. It doesn't have too much power like the Mustang, where the rear wants to step out, and it doesn't have the weight of the Challenger, so it doesn't want to just kind of bog down through the corners and, you know, get stuck in third or fourth gear when you're trying to turn a corner. It's very agile, as you can see by the stats. I will quickly show you the stats of the Mustang as well. And this is the GT 2011 version. It's the 5-liter. As you can see, there's quite a big weight difference between them. This has less horsepower, but again, the fact that it's got less weight is what makes it quicker in a straight line. And it says down here that it's 0-60 in 5.1, but I honestly don't believe that. I think it's a lot less. The Camaro said 4.7. This is 5.1. I'm thinking this is more like I'd say probably a 4.5. It only beats the Camaro by fractions of a second. I would bet on it, you know. Overall, like I said, it's lighter, more horsepower. In the reality of this car, it's got more horsepower than the Camaro does, and it steps out, and it even steps out in the game. If you know, as soon as you go from stock to street, you will notice immediately that this car wants to kick loose at the rear and kind of just is floaty around the corners. Whereas the Challenger, which is what I'll show you now, the Challenger is a beast. It is heavy. It says 0-60 in 4.6 seconds, but I gotta tell you, it feels a lot slower than that. It says its top speed is 182. I, again, don't believe that for a second. It's got the most horsepower, but it doesn't translate to the ground. It's too heavy of a car. When you put this thing into a corner, it just kind of slows down and slides a little bit. It doesn't kick out at the back really, but it understeers way too much. So you have to brake hard and cut in as much as you can. Even in some cases, you have to use the e-brake, which is just going to cost you seconds in a lap, or, you know, a couple of feet of dragging your rear tires can cause you a position. So it's almost not even worth looking at this car. I know a lot of people did choose this car when they first started. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. But again, it all comes down to personal preference. So what I'll do now is I will, I guess, demonstrate as much as I can what I'm talking about when it comes to the Mustang and the Camaro and the Challenger and the differences that they present. You know, it's all a matter of opinion. So if you want to go for looks, again, it's opinion. I mean, the Charger sounds nice. But other than that, it's kind of buggy. So I'll do the 0 to 60 and I'll do some corners and show you guys what I'm talking about. Alright guys, here's the Challenger SRT8 0 to 60 test. I'm using my phone as a clock, so it's potential that it's going to be off, but here goes. And 60. Alright, let's take a look at the time here. Alright, this car, according to my phone just now, got 4.13 seconds from 0 to 60. I will now show you how it handles, again this is full stock, what it's like on the corners. Obviously it doesn't have nitrous, it's just habit, using a car that's full stock. I think realistically I should probably compare the street versions of these cars, but my Camaro is a lot more used and has more car level built up than these do, than this and the Mustang. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. It's kind of heavy. You can see that it wants to it's got a lot of body roll to it, a lot of mass. It's thick and it's wide, and it doesn't really like to turn all that much. You know, a gradual turn like this, not bad. It's, there you go, see? I turned really early in that, and it just didn't want to sit on the track. And you can hear it. It sounds bogged down. You know. Yeah. That's a huge braking distance as well. Again, like I said, it all comes down to personal preference. The sound on this is very good. Sorry about that. The interior, I mean, it's a Dodge. It's got the stupid white ass gauges with that weird like blue aura. I've never been a fan. Okay, here's the full stock 0 to 60 in the Camaro. $60. Alright, that got a 4.35, which again isn't bad. The Challenger beat it because it's got more horsepower to it. The weight didn't help, but it's not far off. I would personally, in my opinion, it's not far off. again, this thing just handles like a dream, no matter how fast you go with it. And it sounds good. Of course it sounds good. It's much more controllable. Stays on the track. You know, I can keep the gas on and kind of... I can actually steer in this if I keep the gas on and get to a corner such as this one coming up. I can probably just keep on the gas all the way through it. Don't even have to worry about it. It's wide, but again, with it being as agile as it is, you don't really have to worry about the fact that it's wide. It's a beautiful car. I love it. Alright, now I have a full stock Mustang, 2011 GT, it's a 5-liter. So here goes 0 to 60 in. Let's do this. .54 seconds. So it's very light, has very good horsepower. Not quite sure if my test is very accurate, but you know, what can you do? The Challenger has the faster 0 to 60, but I guarantee you in a straightaway, this car versus the other two full stock cars, such as the Camaro and the Challenger SRT8, wins every time. I've done multiple tests with people on here when I first got the game, so I know for a fact that this car is a lot quicker. It's definitely thinner than the other two, but it's floaty, very floaty. The fact that I can kind of just whip it around like that should tell you how, you know, how much weight this thing does not have. And the same thing goes for the Shelby GT500 version. It's also very floaty and out there. So that is why I picked personally the Camaro to start with. Plus, I think most of the mods for the Camaro look a lot better than they do for the other two. And I will now show you my street version of all three, and hopefully it gives you an idea of what you would like to start out with, because you can win, you can beat the whole game, you can win. Well, of course you can win, it's a racing game. You can beat the whole game using one car. You don't need to upgrade. The fact that I have so many cars, I honestly can't think of a reason why I need them, because my car level is so high on all the other cars, all the other specs for my Camaro. I don't even really need to have a Chevy Silverado that's raid, raid spec, because I can just use my Camaro and destroy everybody and do twice the speed they're already doing because of all the parts I've earned for it. So I will go to my garage and show you guys the street specs of those three cars.